This episode of Rolled Up is brought to you by Show Your Roll and Defense Soap. I'm an avid traveler, CEO of BudoVideos.com, and lifelong student of the martial arts who strives to know more about the competitors and instructors who are revolutionizing the jiu-jitsu lifestyle. Join me in my journey as I train, learn, and get rolled up. For the second time, Rolled Up takes me to Central America, but this time to the Republic of Costa Rica. I've come to visit and spend some time with my friends, the Wesson Family, and I'm in good company with my Gracie Barra training partners, AJ Agazarm and Philipe Della Monica, as well as Renzo Gracie black belt, Ze Chierighini. Paulo, you and your brother are operating a very successful Gracie Barra school here in Costa Rica. Why did you start to teach at a purple belt level?
Okay, basically we started as a family business. Once we learned jiu-jitsu, we got into the lifestyle. We wanted to expand the lifestyle and teach it to other people, communicate it, get it out there. People that we train with imparted that knowledge on us, and we wanted to just distribute it amongst other people that might benefit from it. We started some time ago, and basically for me, it started when we went to New York. We went to train over at Renzo's, and we met John Danaher, Renzo himself, and all the other instructors there, Leia Cruz. We met Rafael, we met Sapo, all the Igor, Gregor, everybody there was so amazing with us, treated us like family. We just fell in love with the sport. And then we continue going there constantly to get more knowledge and bring it back here.
Some people might say to wait until you get your black belt to open up an academy and teach. What's your response to that?
We started learning at Renzo's. We actually trained at 2 different schools before we opened our own. Training at purple belt, we bring stuff from New York, from the people that we learn, and we bring people in from other places that's like more not so old style. A lot of people have the mentality of if you're not a black belt, you're not up to par, or you still have a long way to go before you start teaching. I feel that you can learn from anybody at any level. A lot of the people that we train with are world-class athletes. That's something that jiu-jitsu is a very easy access to. Everybody in the community has been so kind to us, sharing and expanding their knowledge that we just want to help people and we want to make the academy grow. Now we've gone into Gracie Barra because of the structure. For new businesses, it's real easy, they give you the whole structure. So we build upon that, and then we teach what we learn from the world-class athletes that teach us.
You and I have something in common in that you and I both travel a lot and train with a lot of other people, whereas some guys just train their whole career under one instructor. Do you ever find it confusing having so many different influences in your jiu-jitsu?
Sometimes it's contradicting, but I feel it's and a lot of people won't like this, but I feel like it's like when you go to college, in college you got professors specialized in several areas, and that's what we feel we do. We seek out when we go train. When we have the opportunity to go train with people, we seek out specialists on each area. Open guard, closed guard, half guard, defending, passing, stuff like that. And everybody has their own special move and speciality they shine for. And we want to learn that. And not only that, but they also bring details on their philosophy towards jiu-jitsu and towards the jiu-jitsu lifestyle. I feel that that hybrid makes our academy more complete.
As much as her children are enthralled by jiu-jitsu, Mrs. Wesson is a student and master of the art of cooking. There's few better ways to understand a new culture than by indulging into a wonderful home-cooked meal.
Cooking is like art. If you have the passion, you can make from book, from a famous chef, from your mother, from your grandmother, but you have to have the passion. Yeah, that's it.
The visionary behind Gracie Barra Costa Rica is Arturo Wesson. He often travels to the U.S. to study with some of the best in the world in order to learn and bring back quality jiu-jitsu to his lucky students. You'd be hard-pressed to find someone with more passion and hunger for knowledge than Arturo.
I live in California where jiu-jitsu is really well developed, but it's fascinating for me to go to other countries where jiu-jitsu is not as developed. Tell me a little bit about the history of jiu-jitsu in Costa Rica.
There is no real grappling culture in the country until jiu-jitsu came along, and it came along in the way of most everybody, UFC, and several schools started offering Japanese jiu-jitsu first. Then Brazilian jiu-jitsu came along in the way of Celso Vinicius. He had the first Gracie Barra Academy here. He was the head of it for 2 years. And it's interesting to say that the first crop of students that came from Celso are probably some of the best guys right now in the country. It's really amazing. After Celcinho left, somebody came down from Brazil, which is right now a black belt in Turuão in Brazil, Jose Orlando Fogaça. I got my blue belt from him, excellent professor. And during that time, there was from 2002 all the way to 2006, a slow progression and growth in jiu-jitsu in the country, which left very isolated schools, one from the other. Judo's big here. A lot of people from judo started crossing over to train jiu-jitsu. What happens is you get basically people who relocated from different places in Brazil to teach in Costa Rica. Okay, you're basically left there with their level of knowledge. Now, with that being said, our history comes from two different aspects. Number one, the fact that we love jiu-jitsu. I fell in love with it the first time I trained. I took an MMA class, and a 13-year-old kid choked me out 5 times in 5 minutes. So I said, Mom, I gotta start learning this. This is pretty important. I mean, if a 13-year-old kid could put me to shame, so it's something I gotta learn. When I started training, around that time, my brother came back from double ACL surgery. So he needed to do something. He came, we played basketball in high school and in college. He couldn't do that anymore. So we chose to start practicing jiu-jitsu or whatever. And he proposed an idea. I said, well, I've seen these tournaments on the web. These they look fun. Why don't we try to take this a little bit more seriously? Let's do a tournament. So we went and fought a grappler quest in Orlando in 2010. Did fairly well. Then we said, well, you know what? There's a big gap between what we're doing in Costa Rica and what the rest of these guys are doing. Duomulo was there. We had guys from Cyborg's Academy. There were guys from Puppeteers Academy. The guys that went from all over to Orlando to compete. It was a big tournament. So when we saw the level and we said, okay, we're completely lacking. There's knowledge that's missing here. So I had to go do some work in New York. So it happens that Hansel's Academy is in New York. Went there and never looked back. Basically, the knowledge that you acquire makes you thirsty for more knowledge, And the people that you meet that are different, they're living at a different level in jiu-jitsu, the way they transmit the information, the way they articulate themselves on the mat and off the mat. It's something I had never seen in my life before. I fell in love with it completely right there. Okay.
So you weren't looking to just study under one instructor?
No. Then it was most of a search for knowledge. And so happens that in that, it was a perfect storm where we were looking for knowledge. We got to a place where it's filled with high-level instructors, very charismatic people. They're coming from, obviously from Henso, very charismatic and very knowledgeable person. And you can, just by stepping in that place, it's just amazing.
Do you think it's a better approach for students to learn from a lot of different people, or learn from one guy?
One person doesn't have all the answers, definitely. And then jiu-jitsu is such a growing sport. Like you see, like my experience is like, I'm obsessed with the half guard. I'm obsessed with the deep half guard especially. So I looked to certain instructors. Like I would go to New York and visit Bernardo Faria every time we go there to see what he's studying, what he's coming up with. He's very creative. We have to be on the edge of the new knowledge, the edge of the information, the edge of training. And that's one thing that we want our students to know. If you want to be successful in anything, you have to have that knowledge. You have to go out there. And that's where we go far and beyond. We only have one vision for our school, and that's success. That doesn't mean it has to be what people think. Okay, success is just financial. Success is finding happy, satisfied students who reach their goals in life through jiu-jitsu. If we're not doing that, we fail.
My Gracie Barra San Juan, Costa Rica experience is like learning a lot new skills, new techniques, like new cool things. Because we have a basis focused like on triangles, hip escapes, side control and everything. But we're focusing like learning on techniques more like new school. Like if you watch the Worlds, you'll see like everything in the new game is just right ahead. So we're focusing on learning like from a basis, but just starting from that. So for me, Gracie Barra Costa Rica is just like constantly improving and just learning something new every day. That's it.
The war raged for generations. No amount of bravery and conviction could end the infected, unyielding rage. And with every battle, the evil grew, changed, evolved. The warriors needed nothing short of a miracle to stop the infection, and a miracle they received. Your body is at war against skin infections and diseases each time you step onto the mat. Protect yourself against the invasion. Defense Soap, defend what you have built.
The Wesson family is doing an amazing job at their jiu-jitsu school here in Costa Rica. How did your relationship start with them?
Actually, Arturo Wesson sent me a message on Facebook and reached out to me to hold a seminar here in Costa Rica. And I had never met him before, but I just saw his profile picture was a Gracie Barra, so I said, oh, of course we'll do. Before the seminar was taking place, I had met them in Chicago. We kind of just exchanged messages back and forth. Yeah, I'm busy this time. I'm not sure if we can do it, because he wanted to do it before Worlds, and we said, how about after Worlds? Let's set it for that day. Then I met him in Chicago. Went to go do the Chicago Open, gi and no gi, and they were there competing as well. And I had met Arturo and Paulo and their mom and dad, and from there we just started connecting more. They said, yeah, so this is going to be the date. They sent me the flight information. We're just really, super nice people, and it was kind of, at first a little bit taken back by the niceness, but then I realized it's just their culture and the way they operate. And they flew me out to Costa Rica, put me in a really nice hotel, took me to all the best places to possibly eat in Costa Rica. Man, I got there probably 170 pounds and left maybe 180. I'm exaggerating, but I definitely had my share of good food. And the students of Costa Rica, their desire to learn and absorb new knowledge of jiu-jitsu was just incredible, and it was something really special to watch and contribute to, because I had heard and knew that some other people had been there. Fredon had told me that, he said, absolutely go there, they're going to take really good care of you. And so I went, and I came here, and it was just an amazing experience. I see what they're doing, and I really applaud it, because right now they're only purple belts in jiu-jitsu, but I see what they're doing, and I really think it's something special, because they're going and they're traveling up to the United States, and they're getting knowledge from John Donaher, Fredon, Otavio, and Homolo, and they're traveling around and they're experiencing jiu-jitsu in the United States, and they're getting it all that they possibly can, obviously to benefit their jiu-jitsu as well, but then to bring it back and to share with all their people. And they teamed up with Gracie Barra. They formed a Gracie Barra school, and they're really benefiting from the curriculum. The way I look at it is kind of like an older brother that goes and he, maybe he learns a sport and then he comes back and then his little brother's coming up and he's teaching his little brother the same thing. And that's the vibe I kind of get from them. They're bringing all the best people in to help teach them, not because they're trying to be around these people, but because they genuinely really are interested in gaining the knowledge of jiu-jitsu and expanding it upon Costa Rica. They have hopes to form a federation out here. They have hopes to build it big enough to have their own IBJJF tournament out here. And I think that's something truly special. And in 10 years from now, the jiu-jitsu scene here now is going to be much more advanced and bigger, because of the pioneers of Paulo and Arturo and the Wesson family. They're really honing in on what they need to do to make it grow, and that's what it's all about. So I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad that they extended their desire out to me and wanted me to come and share my jiu-jitsu, and it's been spectacular.
AJ, I love submissions. Do you have one you can teach me today?
I do. I have a submission from the half guard. It begins from the half guard and is the sweep with the key lock position.
Okay.
So it's one of my favorites. I've been using it a lot in training and sparring, and now is I think a good time to start using it in competitions, because the last 6 months I've been really using it in training a lot, and now I'm gonna be taking it into the competition scene.
Cool. Let's see it.
A lot of times I get this position from right here, the guy's hovering in. As soon as the guy's hovering in, I'm accepting his weight on my left shoulder and just leaning over and grabbing here. As soon as I grab here, I know I'm in position to finish the move. Because really all I want to do is just hold his arm from posturing up. As soon as he postures up, I collapse his wrist and connect my hands to the key lock. So I'm here, I'm with my knee shield position. He comes in close to try to pressure smash me. I bring my arm over and even almost turn my back a little bit. But I'm gonna connect my hands as soon as he starts to posture up. Just like that. Now I'm here. What I like to do is I bait my partner into believing that he needs to pass my half guard. So what I do is sometimes I'll open up my half guard and then connect it back to pretend like I need to put him back into half guard. I'm keeping his wrist really close to his hip is the only thing, and my thumbs are out on my hold. So now for the second time, I'm open my guard, and maybe I close right away, and then I open again, and he feels he can pass. As soon as he passes, I rotate here, push his hand to his hip, and come here. A lot of times what I do is I stay here, and I come here and go to this position, or I turn up and go to the arm bar, but keep the arm lock position, and I pass it here. Knee shield position. I let my partner believe he can start to come in, and I attack the key lock. I keep my thumbs in, and I close the half guard and just position his arm right on his hip. He knows he's in danger right here, so he's trying to escape. But the only thing I really need him to do is just to try to pass my half guard. He's better off staying in my half guard and breaking the posture of the key lock. If he passes the half guard, that's when he's in trouble. So I open my guard, maybe bait him a little bit, and then close it right away, fast, aggressive close. I open again, and he passes. Sometimes I'll even stay with it, even just a little bit, like I'm like using my last lifeline to keep it. And he feels confident that when he slips it, he goes around to my head. And that's when I rotate here, and I have to push. If I'm laying out like this, I'm not in trouble. There's no worries, because as soon as he makes a movement, I just push his hip to his wrist, and he falls right over. Again, I can go to the Kimura here, or the armbar.
So what do you think is unique about Costa Rica?
Man, one of the things that really stuck out to me when I first arrived here was their motto that they kind of live by, Pura Vida. It's pure life, and everything around seems to fall in line with that. The people are really, genuinely happy people. Obviously the hospitality of the Wesson family has been incredible, but I think that's a culture that they're kind of used to. They're surrounded by it, and that was really, really special. But one of the great things that came from this trip is all the spectacular things that Costa Rica has to offer. You have one side of the spectrum is volcanoes, the rainforest, the extreme sports. And there's skydiving on the other coast, the Pacific coast, that I'll definitely try to get to at some point in my life. But it's a unique country.
You're a Gracie Barra black belt. What are the benefits of belonging to the largest jiu-jitsu organization in the world?
One thing that I have found since I've been a part of this program is the advantage of travel. And with Gracie Barra, what's really special is there's over 400 locations worldwide. And now we have a location here in Costa Rica. And that's one of the things I wrote on my Facebook about today. I said, when I first stepped on the mats for the first time in an IBJJF tournament, I had no idea that this is what it would be leading to. And now we're traveling the world, we're doing seminars in Costa Rica, 400 locations worldwide. The possibilities are limitless. And I think that's something that's very special. So you had asked me about, how long is this going to continue? I think it's not a matter of how long it's going to continue. It's going to be, how many more countries are you going to be able to go to? And it's only going to go up. We're at 400 right now. Imagine 10 years.
When you visit these countries, it's like you have an immediate family and friendship right there.
Sometimes I'm taken back a lot by it all. I had met my friend Julian in Paris, and for the first time I met him Worlds of this year. And I was sitting in the car with him, Hachinho, and a couple other guys. And I said, AJ, why don't you come to Paris and do a seminar? He took me in, brought me to Paris. I did 4 seminars. Stayed with him and his family at his house. Got to know his kids, his whole family, and it was just like we had known each other for all these years, and that's what jiu-jitsu does. It brings us together. And now, you and I have been friends for quite some time now, and now we're both here in Costa Rica enjoying a country that's surrounded by what is going to be in the future jiu-jitsu, and that's what brought us here. So it's pretty cool.
The Favela Jiu-Jitsu Instructional Series by Fernando Terere, now available in 4 formats, on DVD and on demand exclusively at BudoVideos.com, and for mobile devices on Google Play and the App Store.
The people in Costa Rica, they're very similar than Brazilian people, So I felt like, man, this looks like Brazil, and the people are really warm, and they really like Jiu-Jitsu. But I can see already the progress, the students, and the sport's gonna grow here, I think, a lot.